Hi all, this is Emma from Plan, Inspire, Create, and today I'm going to show you how I put together my self-care boxes for my patrons. So I wanted to do something a little bit different for this video during Vlogmas. I've done a lot of planning videos, and something I toyed with doing earlier this year was bringing you behind the scenes of running Plan, Inspire, Create and showing you kind of studio vlogs. But I wanted to bring you behind the scenes of what it's like to create all the items for my self-care boxes. So if you don't know, I have a Patreon called The Cozy Cafe that launched in July this year, and it's very much focused on self-care and positive support, still including those planning elements that you get on my main channel. We have a Discord community where we kind of spur each other on and have nice chats and things, and there's a whole bunch of different fun rewards depending on what tier you pledge to. And in my top tier, the Hot Chocolate Chums, one of the rewards is that you get a physical box of goodies through your door every other month, and it's one of my favourite things to put together. I really work hard on thinking about what goes in the boxes and putting together a box of things that will be fun to open, fun to look at, but also kind of useful in terms of self-care. So I'm currently working on my third box, which is going out in December. It will have gone out by the time this video is released, so my patrons won't have any spoilers. And each box has its own individual theme. So the first box I did, the theme was self-love, and there were lots of nice goodies in it. There was a nice sticker and a print. There was also a journal with a question a day to help you focus on the things that you really love about yourself. There's always a printable activity in there. There was a little memo pad where you could write down 3 things you like about yourself, which I love using in my planner. And there was a vinyl sticker to go on your mirror that says "Hello Beautiful" as a little reminder each time you look at yourself in the mirror. So that was my first box. I really loved it. The second one I sent out was October, and I wanted it to tie in with the kind of spooky season, and so I did the theme as overcoming fear. And as usual, there was a print in the box. There was also a sheet of little bravery award stickers that you could kind of award to yourself each time you've done something to overcome a fear. There was a little skull planner charm, an individual quote sticker, a printable activity, and also a set of affirmation cards. So I try and vary what's in the boxes, and I like to have things that can kind of be used long term, and there's usually around 6 items in a box. So I've been working on the third box, and I decided on the theme of fresh starts. So I wanted something that would tie in with the time of year, but I didn't want it to be limited. So for example, if I'd done a Christmas theme, then people probably wouldn't use those items come January. So I decided to tie it in with the idea of a new year starting in January, and the fact that that can be a fresh start for people. However, fresh starts can happen at lots of different times, and it's something that people can use beyond. So I thought about that when I was putting together the items. So the first thing I do is obviously decide on the theme, and then the second thing I do is head over to Pinterest and create a kind of mood board of things for inspiration, whether it be colour schemes, quotes, illustrations, artwork, lots of different things, types of items that will kind of give me a sense of what I might include in this box. And then I make myself a list of 6 items that I think I can include. So there's always a print. There's either a sticker sheet or an individual sticker. And there's always a printable activity. And then the other items vary. So that gives me a bit of a kind of structure. So for this box, what I decided was I would do some little calendar, like journaling cards, planner cards, or you might use them in other places with the kind of monthly calendars on for January, but I'm thinking of doing the first 3 months of the year, maybe with a nice quote on there about kind of new months and it being a reset, a refresh, that kind of thing. I'm going to do a page marker. That's an item that I've not included in the boxes before. And I'm going to include a keyring. Now, the keyring is something really special. So with it being Christmas, I wanted my patrons to have a personalised item in their boxes. So I'm creating myself more work, but I wanted to do something special. So what I decided to do was a word of the year keyring. So I put together a post for my patrons where I explain the concept of the word of the year being something you choose to kind of give you focus and ground you throughout the year and kind of keep you on track. And I put together a little exercise to help them choose their word of the year. And I gave my example for my word of the year, which is going to be balance. And I asked them to give me their word of the year. And I'm going to turn that into a leather keyring with a cutout of the words. So that's the plan. However, I haven't done a prototype yet, so we're going to see how that goes. They don't know what it's going to be. They've just been told it's a personalised item and I want your word of the year. So I've been collecting the words. I have them all now. And so that's something that I can now work on. The next thing that I do is kind of pick a colour scheme for the boxes. And this year I've gone for my new brand colours. So this is a sneak peek for you that I will be refreshing my logo, my branding and how everything's going to look in January. My patrons have seen previews of that, but it won't come out publicly until January. But the colours I've chosen are the colours for my new brand colours. So I've gone with a kind of pink, blue and yellow. And the first things I always then work on are the items that are illustrated. So whether it's the print, the stickers, anything that needs kind of drawing and illustrating. And I really like to schedule in time to sit and do that in a nice kind of cozy space. So I will show you my setup because my plan is to do some today working on the print for the box. I tend to get set up by the TV. I like to put things on the TV that are kind of inspirational, so I tend to watch other creators' studio vlogs or their videos. It almost feels like creating with a little bit of company. And I will get myself a nice drink, get myself all cozy, and it's a part of the job that I absolutely love. So that is what I am planning on doing next. So let's go over and get started. Okay, so I'm back at my desk. I've finished illustrating the typewriter print. I wasn't sure to begin with whether I was going to use the typewriter as a print or a sticker, and I did a quote which I will pop on the screen now, which again, I wasn't sure whether it was going to be a print or a sticker. I really like the typewriter as a print, and I'm going to turn the quote into an individual sticker. So I've had some lunch, I've had a little break, and now I'm going to head back to my laptop and I'm going to start designing some of the other items. So the calendar cards, the page marker, I need to think how that's going to actually work in practice. I've got a bit of an idea in my mind as to how that will look. So let's jump over to my laptop and get started on those items. couple of days since I last checked in with you, and I had quite a late night that night finishing up all the designs for everything that's going in the box. So I'm really happy I've done that. The only thing that's outstanding is this month I've decided to include a kind of newsletter in the box, which will basically explain why I've chosen the theme, a little bit about the theme, and a little bit about the items in the box, so you can get the kind of thinking behind it. And that's something that has been on my mind, and I thought, right, I'm going to implement it on this box. So I've decided to do it as a kind of double-sided, so that on the front is a kind of print that you can keep, and on the back is a newsletter. So that's my plan. It means you get a bonus print, but the print may not necessarily be related to the box. It's more related to like Plan, Inspire, Create, the Cozy Cafe, that kind of thing. So now what time is it? 12:05. I've got about 45 minutes. And what I plan to do is start formatting the items ready to print, create, cut, depending on the type of item it is, and then to actually start that process of making the items. So I'm going to take you along with me now. So it's the next morning and I've done all my printing except for the kind of double-sided print newsletter. That's still got to be actually finished. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to produce all the other products. So everything's printed. I need to cut everything down. I need to run some things through the silhouette machine. I need to put some laminate on some things. I'm rambling now. It'll make sense as I do it by product. Run everything I need to run through my silhouette, and then make the key rings on my Cricut. Then I'm gonna photograph everything, and then I'm gonna use those photographs to produce the newsletter on the back, and then finalise everything. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll put little notes up on screen to explain what I'm doing as I go, and then I will check back in with you. Wish me luck! so this is a perfect example of why I stopped using my Cricut and started using Silhouette. So the difficulty I've had here is that my Silhouette was not powerful enough to cut all the way through the cardstock and the laminate. So what I did was just use my craft knife to like roughly cut it out, just to test it in the planner and see if I liked it as it was, which I did. So I recreated the design in Cricut Design Space, and I thought I will use my Cricut to cut these because I know that that can cut all the way through easily. So I did that. However, if you can see up close, you can see that the cuts are way off where they're supposed to be. So like this white here is the bit that's supposed to be cut out, and the cut lines are just nowhere near it. So I'm gonna take these off and see. I think we might be all right because I put the bleed on, but it's just not as precise, even though I've recalibrated the machine about 1,000 times, spoken to customer support. It's just no more accurate, and that was why I kind of had a knee-jerk reaction for this is ridiculous, I'm wasting so many materials, let's move to Silhouette. And I've had no trouble with it, but it's not powerful enough, the portrait anyway, to do things like this. These materials are too much. So let's pop these out and see how they turned out. I can trim these with the scissors. It hasn't quite gone through the card at the back, but it's way better than the Silhouette was. The most important bit is that this center section has come out because that was just too intricate to cut around. So let's see what's salvageable. Not that one. Let's get my good paper scissors. This is obviously not the ideal for what you want when creating products, and it then takes a lot of time to finish things by hand that you don't really want. You want them to come off the cutting machine and just be done. Okay, I'll neaten up the outsides and then we'll look at the insides, and then we'll look which ones are perfect and which ones might be okay from a seconds perspective, which obviously I wouldn't put in the boxes, but I might use as a freebie or in a second sale, and then some that are just maybe no-goes in terms of using. But I really like using this particular self-adhesive laminate on top because it's really thick and sturdy. It's just obviously it's then harder to cut through when you've got the laminate and the cardstock, which is also thick. I think it's 300 GSM. Okie dokie. So that's the outsides. Let's pop out these insides if we can. Let's have a look at the ones that are really clear. Oof, that's probably a no-go. This one is fine. Is it? No, that's a seconds. That's perfect. Okay, perfect. Seconds, no go. So we need to pop these ones out carefully. Okay, so we got 1 no, 2 seconds, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of that batch that are yeses. So we'll get rid of my no. And you can see that if I just use the old Silhouette page, they would clip onto a piece of paper like this, and they would sit in the top of your planner, and the Today tab would just poke out the top. So I'm happy with how they turned out. And the other thing that I decided to change, I will show you, was these stickers. So this is the original one I made, and I used the same laminate, and I actually think it's a bit too thick on the stickers, and I wanted it to be a nice I don't know, smooth finish that you get with sticker paper. So I actually printed it again just as a sticker without the laminate, and I did it so that the sticker sheet is cut slightly wider so that you can easily peel it off the backing without having to try and find the edge and end up damaging the edge of the sticker. So that's the first time I've done that, and that worked really well. So I'm going to be using these ones, not these ones. Hi. It's confession and chatty time. It was Friday when I left you and I was printing and making items for the boxes and I had to walk away. I was having a particularly bad day, mental health wise. I'd had a lot of very bad nightmares the night before and I'd woke up feeling quite raw and vulnerable, and I'd thought that doing the self-care boxes would be a good distraction, which it was to start with, but then things weren't going as I planned. One product in particular, I just couldn't get right. I wasn't happy with, and the more I tried, the more things just seemed to be taking a really long time. I couldn't seem to get things right, and because of the mindset I was in, I really started beating myself up and just feeling like a failure and that I couldn't do it. I couldn't get things how I wanted them, and just having feelings of kind of self-doubt and worthlessness. And I just thought, you got to step away. There's no way you're going to be able to get it how you want it in this mindset. And it was just spiraling. So I stepped away, and I was actually away at the weekend. And so it's now Monday and I'm back and I'm ready to try again. And to get them how I want them so that I'm really happy with things when I send them out. I sent a message to my patrons and they were really understanding, and I just said, I want you to receive a box which is absolutely full of beautiful things that I'm 100% happy with when they go out to you. I don't want to rush it and not give you the quality that I want it to be. So they were really understanding. So they were happy for me to wait that couple of extra days before posting and get them just right. So I'm going to have a go now and see how I can get them. So I'm a lot happier now with the products that are going in the box, and it's really starting to come together. I've just sitting and written the newsletter, which will be the first time I've included a kind of letter from me in the box, and it's going on the back of an exclusive art print, which will be collectible prints within the self-care boxes that aren't necessarily tied in with the theme, but they are kind of one-of-a-kind illustrations that you can collect through being part of the Self-Care Box Club. So all that's left for me to do now is print them out and start assembling the boxes, putting them together. I always photograph the items before I send them out so I can share with other people what's been in the boxes, and it gives people a chance, if they want to order one before the end of the month, then they can do, or it just helps them know in the future what's been in previous boxes so they can get an idea if it's a kind of thing that they would like to sign up to. So that's what I'm going to do now. So the boxes are now done. I'm really, really happy with how they turned out. They're all packed. All I need to do is just take them to the post office. So I'll do that later today. I put the newsletter / print in the top of the box, and I had to play around with what kind of paper to use for that. I was going to use my art print paper, but you could kind of see a little bit of shadow when I printed it double-sided, so I didn't like that. So I ended up using a thick cardstock, and I think they turned out nice for the first box. I might have a bit of more of a play around for future. Some of the items ended up being a bit of a labour of love. The keyrings and the page markers were quite tricky, but the great thing about the Patreon boxes is it allows me to experiment with new types of products, and I don't send them out unless I'm absolutely 100% happy with them. But what it also allows me to do is think, would I want to make this on a bigger scale to sell in my shop? And for some items, the answer is yes, and they might come in the future. And for some, I probably wouldn't do them again. Probably wouldn't do the page markers again like I did this time. I'd have a bit of an experiment with a different way of doing them, but you live and you learn. So by the time this video comes out, these boxes will be released and gone and no longer available, and I'll be working on the ones for February because they're always exclusive to my Patreon. So if you want to sign up to receive one of the boxes as well as a whole load of other fun rewards, you can head over to patreon.com/The Cozy Cafe, but I'll leave a link in the description for you. I really hope you've enjoyed seeing how I put the boxes together. Leave me a comment below and let me know if you like these types of videos, and consider liking it and subscribing if you're not a subscriber already, because it really helps my lovely channel to grow. And I will see you next week for another video. Bye!